Gonzales, just days away from your 2017 opener. Just talk about the whole process and leading up to this 2017 opener.
Well, it's been a very good off season for us, and we've had some 2 or 3 good weeks of weather and practice, and so the expectations are extremely high going into this season. We'll return some key position players from last year's squad. We returned some very key arms on the mound, so expectations are high, and hopefully they're always going to be high around here.
Talking about some of those returning players, you do return a lot of all LSC guys, and Christian Caldwell, Jimmy Roach, Pablo, and then freshman of the year, Preston. Just talk about the leadership from those guys, having been that they made it to the South Central Regionals last season.
Well, when we left Grand Junction, Colorado last year, we left with a bitter taste in our mouth. We felt like we had some unfinished business, and anytime you can return a nucleus like we've done, guys that have been through it, guys that have had success at that level, all it did was propel us going into the off season, into the summer, and the leadership qualities that these young men have. You know, it's a blessing to have those kind of guys on our team. What they mean to the rest of the team, what they mean to the program, and so a lot of those guys were able to do, especially Jimmy and Christian. Those guys can be coaches on the field and off the field as well, and so when you have a team like that holds each other accountable, then you have an opportunity to be successful.
Just talk about position by position. Let's go with the pitching rotation first. What do you envision that rotation being on opening weekend?
Well, it may look a little bit different on opening weekend than it will throughout the season, just because we've got a couple of guys with some sore arms, and so we actually have a break after opening weekend. So we may hold a couple of guys back, but we'll probably start with Seth Hubert, transfer from Western Texas and just down the road in Rivera, who's thrown the ball extremely well for us. Hunter Perkins and Sebi Plashis will also pitch for us this weekend. So we think those guys are going to go out there and set a tone for us. And what we're hoping also to be able to do is throw a lot of young guys. We've got some guys that we need to see if they can help us at this level. And the best thing to do is throw them into the fire and see how they do. That's what we're excited about, is being able to throw possibly 10, 11 guys on the weekend.
So you mentioned 2 guys that were here last season, Hunter and Sebi. Sebi was the guy that started your opening weekend last season, struck out 9 in that game in that win. He was the guy that started off strong and then had some shoulder issues or some arm issues. Just talk about what you see from Sebi and Hunter being guys that are returning.
Both of these guys, have the opportunity to go out and dominate a team. Both of these guys are going to be high velocity guys, and that's what you want from a couple of from your starters, to go out there and set a tempo for us. Both of those guys had a very good early part of the season for us last year. Both of them ran into some arm problems and never really got back on track the rest of the season. And both of those guys were new to the program, and so they've been with us now for over a year. They've been in our off season, they've been in our weight room, so they're both stronger, they're both healthier. So we're looking for a lot of stability and experience from both of those guys.
Now, looking at the back end of your bullpen, then you do return Trey Taylor and Hunter Lehman, who had 4 saves last season. Just talk about what you envision from your bullpen.
Same thing, a lot of leadership, and what you get from both Lehman and Taylor is a tremendous amount of competitiveness when they come out of the bullpen into the game. Those 2 guys probably compete as hard as anybody we have on the team, and so you look at their velocity and you look at the stuff that they have, and it's not necessarily stuff that you think, well, these guys ought to be successful in the back in the bullpen, but what they do is they out-compete you and they out-tough you, and so we're looking forward to having those guys in those similar roles this year.
And now looking behind the plate, you return Christian Caldwell, all-LSC first team last season, his first season as a starter, but you did add 2 backstops back there, so just talk about what you see from your catchers.
Again, we put a lot of pressure and a lot of importance on our catchers. You know, they have to be thinkers. They have to learn a lot. They have to know our pitching system. And what we want to do is have those guys call a game. And Christian's been with us now going on 3 years. It seems like he's been here for about 4 or 5. He's a mature young man. He knows our system. He knows the pitching staff. And so we're going to throw a lot on him and expect a lot out of him. And what he's been able to do now is kind of be more of a mentor and a coach for Ryan Rodriguez and a couple of the younger guys. And again, we've got Hunter Lehman back there, and what we've got to be careful of is we don't run him ragged, because we're going to pitch him, we're going to catch him when Christian needs an off day, and so. But if anybody can handle it, it's Hunter Lehman. He's a tough guy, and he's works very hard physically.
So going around the diamond, let's look at first base. Jimmy Roach returns. He's a guy that's has the most experience on this team?
He's going to be the anchor of our infield. He's a coach on the field. He's never going to allow the team to just go through the motions. He's the extension of the coaching staff when he gets out here, and he's been with us now for 5 years. So he knows the system as well as the coaching staff. And so, you know, from a defensive standpoint, I don't think there's anyone better than him. So you know, we look forward to him, you know, doing what he's been doing the last three years as well.
At second base, you lose Smith, who was the senior second baseman there, but you do return a guy that played second, short, and third. Now it's Gonzales. What do you see from second base?
There's a couple of candidates. Josh Croft has transferred in. 2 years ago, he played at San Jack Junior College. Left-hand hitter that's come in, and he fits in well with what we're doing because he's a tough kid. He is a senior. He's been through it, you know, for 3 years now. So he fits in exactly with what we're going to do. He'll probably hit at the top of the lineup for us. Tim Glimes is going into his third year with us now, and so he's had the opportunity to help us as well. And then you've got, you know, Alex Gonzales, who played a lot of shortstop for us last year, and so both he and Cole Ullman, you know, have battled out throughout the off season, and so both of them really anchor us defensively. You know, they're both defensive first shortstops, and anytime you have somebody like that in the middle, it helps bring some stability to your defense, and that's what we always want from our shortstop. He's got to be able to catch it and throw it first.
Now, you mentioned Croft. I think a lot of people expect a lot from these seniors that are one-year wonders, so to speak here. You did have Dalton Perry, who set up records here, and then before that, prior to my time here, you did have a shortstop All-American from Incarnate Word.
Well, you're right. The expectations are high, but again, these guys don't necessarily know a whole lot about what they've, you know, what's gone on before them. They come in here with a role, with their own set of expectations, their own toughness. So, you know, we hope that he can continue on in the tradition that those guys that you mentioned and have the kind of season that they have. And if we do, we're going to be really good.
Now, looking at the hot corner, you do lose the Ruben Allen here, but you bring in Levi Zentz and some of those guys. Just talk about what you see from third base.
Well, again, Levi, we think is going to help us from a defensive standpoint first, transferring in from Stephen F. Alston. He's a very calming figure on the defensive side, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of people from an offensive standpoint. But again, he brings a maturity as well, and he brings a lot of success from his junior college as well.
Now, looking at the outfield, again, you do return Pablo Hernandez. So in right field, do you expect Pablo to stay in right, or do you envision him switching over?
He'll probably play a little bit more left field this year. We've got, you know, again, we hope that he comes in and is able to just kind of pick up where he left off. And he had a tremendous year for a freshman. And so what you have to, you know, I guess protect him from is trying to do too much and trying to replicate it. So again, you know, we expect him to come in here, hit at the meat of the order, drive in a lot of runs for us. Dallas Stefano is a transfer that has come in from Wharton Junior College. He'll probably play a lot of right field for us. Travis Geiser transferred in from A&M Corpus, so we look for him to play some center field as well. And then we've got a couple of guys in Peyton Geisinger and Alec Kanya that were with us last year, who've had very good off seasons as well. And so from a outfield standpoint, we've got some offense out there. We've got some fast guys that can play some defense. So you know, you may see 4 or 5 different outfielders in any game.
Now, looking at your coaching staff, you do return Philip Middleton, who now moves over to pitching coach. You return Ryan Benitez, who pitched here, but you also add Halen Vesley, who just finished his playing career here last season.
You know, it's a good staff, and anytime you have success as a program, as an organization, you have to have some stability within your coaching staff. Coach Middleton now is going into his 4th year with us, so he does bring that stability. He has moved over to the pitching side of it. He understands it. So we really haven't missed a beat with going in that direction right there. Ryan Benitez has been with us going into his 2nd year, so he helps with the pitching staff as well. And Hayden Vesley is going to bring a lot of information, a lot of knowledge to our hitters. He had a pretty good season for us last couple of years, and so he's able to see maybe a couple of different things differently and help our hitters during the course of a ball game. So from a head coach standpoint, I think I've got some very good assistants.
Now, final question for you, Coach. What is your season expectation now?
Well, we had a meeting yesterday about our team goals, and the first thing for us is going to start with the conference championship. And that's not an easy thing to do, especially in our conference. It's an extremely talented, tough conference, and it's going to be a dogfight every weekend. But again, we think we're going to be up for the challenge. We think we're going to have a team that's going to be able to compete with anybody in the conference. So that'll be our number one goal, and then hopefully we can get to a regional. But the expectations are, if you get to a regional enough times and you keep knocking on that door, at some point in time you want to kick it in, and hopefully this is the year we can kick it in.